There's a lot of stuff here that you couldn't do and label it as PG-13 if it wasn't aliens, robots, and monsters. I can't believe they got away with this. Welcome back, everyone. We're here to talk about Predator Badlands, something that I have been saying since I saw the first trailer that I was excited for. I thought it was going to be great just based on the trailer and based on the fact that we have the same director as Prey, which admittedly I haven't watched Prey yet. I just heard it was freaking amazing and it's been on my watch list for a while. So I was really excited to jump into this, and obviously I also feel like Elle Fanning is an amazing performer, but how did it do? Did it hold up to the hype? And was it actually even a good story? We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the action in this movie and all of the little details, especially our lead character here, Deck, who is the predator that we're following. A lot of people were critical in the trailers because Deck is kind of a small guy, kind of a smaller predator. So how does that lend to the story, and does it work? And before I get into this, I want to know, what do you prefer more, Predator or Alien? Let me know in the comments below and let me know why. I love movies like this personally because they are action films that understand that action scenes are not just about blowing stuff up and cutting folks in twain. This is a story where the action actually propels the story and is used to tell the story of Predator Badlands. It is a story where we follow Deck, who is a predator who, well, is about to be culled from his clan because he is smaller and he is considered to be the weakest link. You are the weakest link, Deck. Goodbye. And yet what ends up happening is, because he saved his brother when he was younger, his brother in return saves him back, and he is sent on this quest to go to a unhospitable planet known as Genna, where basically everything on the planet is a death trap, and he's going to try to get a creature that even his dad is afraid of, that is considered to be unkillable. He's going to try to kill it. It's called the Callisk. He heads out to this planet. Along the way, he befriends a synthetic who is known as Thea, and they kind of work together with him using Thea as his tool to try and defeat the Callisk, and finally get to be welcomed into his clan, get to be declared Deck the Yacha, and welcomed back in. However, the lessons he learns along the way are kind of like, man, I don't really need this clan that doesn't appreciate me. Maybe it's not really about killing everything. Maybe you gotta look at people for who they are, and in that way, that is where you find the strength of others. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to save lives that you feel are worth it. It's kind of what the movie's about. And while you might think that's kind of a weird theme for Predator Badlands, I would also argue that Predator Badlands is completely shaking up this fandom because it's doing something we've never seen before, and that is focusing on a Yacha and actually making them the main character of the movie. Normally, when we encounter predators, they are the villains of the film, and in this movie, Deck is actually the hero of the film. What I love about it is that all of the themes of there being more to meets the eye to this character Deck and to this planet that he's on is what every element of this movie is about. Whether we're talking about the action scenes and how Deck kind of, in trying to fight the world that he's on, has a harder time, and it's only through his bond with Thea that he realizes that, you know, there's other ways to defeat your enemy. You don't necessarily have to destroy it in order to bend it to your will. And Thea is a unique synthetic because she has emotions. And the reason that she was given emotions by the Weyland-Yutani Corporation is to interact with Genna in a way that allows her to understand it so that she can basically manipulate it and bend it to her will. And Deck learns these skills through his bond with Thea. Along the way, they also meet a little creature named Bud, who saves them while they're up in the trees. I feel like Predator Badlands is taking a bit of a Mandalorian approach to the story. This is something that Uptown Duck said after we watched it, and I can't not see it. He said that the pitch for this went something like this. The studio execs were like, all right, we're gonna do another Predator movie. I don't know. Do you think it could be the most successful Predator movie? Because that's what we're looking for here. We want a Predator movie that'll make the big bucks. And Dan Trachtenberg said to them, look, I got this screenplay. I got an idea here from Patrick Asen. He's given us this screenplay, and I'm thinking, you've seen The Mandalorian, right? Yeah, we've seen The Mandalorian. Of course, we've seen $1 million. They got that Baby Yoda thing. You got one of those? Yeah, I got one of those. Its name is Bud. But also, what if we had a character that was reluctant to join anyone, and along the way, he learns that even though he's outside of the clan, he finds his own clan, he finds his own people, he forges his own path. It's a tale of misfits coming together. This sounds interesting. This sounds just like The Mandalorian. I'm liking it. Sounds like big bucks, baby. And that's basically how it went. I mean, Bud is our stand-in for Grogu. Dek is our stand-in for The Mandalorian. And everyone he encounters along the way is, his friends that he makes that makes him a stronger person. He finds his own found family, and that's the story of Predator Badlands. Now, it's not a new story. Of course, we've heard this story before, but within this franchise that is about, obviously making more of these films in order to make money, they found a really nice artistic approach to it. And this film is just a delight to watch. The action is also nonstop and is really well done. And the other thing I just want to shout out is that not only is Elle Fanning amazing, but the person that's not getting enough love and respect, I think here, the people are not talking about as much, or I haven't seen it as much online, is Demetrius Schuster Kolomatangi, who plays Dek and actually learned the Yacha language, which is, by the way, a real language, to play this role. He was so committed to really making sure that he got inside the mindset of this character, and he wanted it to be more than just a phoned-in performance. And man, he nailed it. Also, the fact that there's a lot of practical effects used in this movie I thought was really impressive. There is CG, but they actually did a lot of stuff practically as well. In fact, a lot of what you see of Demetrius as Dek is practical, except for, I think, his face. They basically didn't want to put cosmetics on his face so that they could still capture all of the emotion in the mocap and then translate that into, a CG filter on top. And I thought that was what was happening because, the mandibles, I was like, I don't know how you do that. It doesn't really look animatronic, but there is a lot of animatronics used in this movie, which I appreciate and which I think allows us to get some really stellar performances from our cast here. The twist at the end of Bud actually being a baby Callusk, I thought was so sweet. And also the fact that we have a synthetic here in Elle Fanning's Thea, who does a masterful job playing both Thea and Tessa, two very distinctive characters who look identical. The fact that her journey is about her realizing that what she's doing is wrong, and she basically, through having these emotions, is able to form completely independent thought and kind of go rogue. And I love that as a synthetic story. Man, I know that Alien Earth is basically the synth story as well. Like, it is a very synthetic based in terms of who we're following. But I really just want something in this universe that is purely focused on synthetics, that's just a synthetic show or film, because I find the synths in the Alien and Predator universe to be so cool and so fascinating. And so I really loved that element of the story as well. Just each character's journey, whether we're talking about Dek or Thea or Bud, I feel like they're all just fully realized journeys, and it's so fun to just go on this ride, on this adventure with them. And it's so satisfying at the end when Dek gets to come back to his clan and actually fight his dad for his cloak and defeat him to get revenge for his brother who sacrificed himself to save his little bro. I just thought that was so sweet. I never thought that this would be such an emotional story, and yet Wow, it was. Also, the implications at the end of the movie with the fact that we're going to maybe meet Deck's mom if we get some kind of spin-off from this film. I don't know if it would be a show or if it would be a film. I'd actually kind of like this to become a series. I think it would be really cool to see where they would take it as a series. But Predator women are rare. So I am very excited to see what his mom would be like. All I'm going to say is probably major Dommy Mommy energy and probably a character that I would love to cosplay, even though that will probably be insanely expensive because the amount of prosthetics you have to do a Predator cosplay is crazy. Anyways, overall, loved this film. I think my rating for it would be a solid 4 out of 5. The only reason that I am not giving it a 5 out of 5 is because there are elements of it that I feel are very like well tread and where I don't know if the film gave me enough to just elevate it to that level, especially based on some of the movies we've had this year. But in terms of what it served up, I mean, I don't really have any notes for it based on what it set out to do. So I could see it being a 5-5 if it was a different year and I didn't have so many films that made me like just question the world, you know what I mean? Which this film doesn't necessarily have the same amount of depth as some of the others. So it's only based on comparison that I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Anyways, I feel weird, honestly, rating films at this point. I'm doing it because I know people want it and I know that we kind of need benchmarks for these things. But it kind of takes away from film sometimes when we rate them. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt, I guess, because it could easily be for many people a 5 out of 5 film, and I would respect that rating too. That's all I have for this one. I want to know what your thoughts are on Predator Badlands. Let me know down in the comments below. Are you hyped about this film? Have you seen it? What was your experience with it? And, you know, who are some of your favorite characters? And where would you like it to go next? Because it's clearly left a little open-ended, which I like. I'll see you guys in the next one. And until next time, as always, stay nerdy. Bye! And if you like when I talk about action movies, we've had some good ones recently. Check this out.